Axel's Garage. We are out here working on the Jeep. Just to give you a little update, it's been a while, but you know how it goes. Life gets in the way. Kids going off to school, had to make sure their cars were all good. So what we got here, excuse the noise, I got a pork butt on the pellet smoker, but we got the transmission all cleaned up, degreased, and waiting to go back in. The blown apart transfer case is still a blown apart transfer case, but we do have another one. We need to crack it open. But in the meantime, what we got here is we're working on some stuff. So what I did was I crawled underneath the Jeep, and because we got the belly pan off and the transmission out and all that from the middle of the Jeep out, what we were able to do is clean up those chassis rails. You know, these TJs, they like to rot out on the chassis. So what I did was I took a wire wheel on a grinder and I went over the chassis rails, get any flaking rust off, any loose bits of paint off and everything like that. Then I went over it with degreaser and a Scotch-Brite pad and scrubbed it down really good. Then washed it with degreaser and then got all that degreaser off, so I have clean chassis rails. And what I'm going to use on the belly pan and the chassis rails is going to be some Eastwood rust encapsulator. And I'm going to put 2 medium coats of the Eastwood rust encapsulator on, just to hopefully it does what it says it does and seal in any rust, stop any rust from growing. Hopefully we'll get a few more years out of this TJ and prevent the chassis from rotting out like they all eventually do. This is a 97 and the chassis is in fairly good shape. It's not to the point where it's dangerous or would fail inspection, and we want to keep it that way. Try to get a few more years out of it. You know, up here in the Northeast, the brine on the roads just kill these vehicles, and you know, they wipe out brake lines, fuel lines rust out, and the chassis take a beating. So I'll take you underneath with a flashlight and we'll show you what the chassis rails look like, and I'll start getting this rust encapsulator. Once I get 2 medium coats of rust encapsulator on, I am going to finish it off with a coat, a good nice coat of Eastwood's chassis black, to hopefully give it the protection that it needs to get 3, 5 more years. 7 years would be perfect. We get 7 more years out of this thing. We're getting a, you know, new clutch in it, new transfer case, and hopefully we'll get some time out of it. Amanda will be back driving it again. So we do have a transfer case. This is out of an XJ, the 2001 XJ, and it is the exact transfer case that we need, except for one minor issue. And let me see if I could show you that issue. That is the, what do they call that? The input? They call that the input shaft for the transfer case, and that has the wrong splines. So what we have to do is take the input shaft out of the broken apart transfer case and put it in this one. And this one was rebuilt. We had it rebuilt and had it on the shelf, so it should be good. It's a shame that we have to crack it open and I have to get my dirty fingers in it, and hopefully I get it back together the way it's supposed to go back together with the other input shaft in it. And it'll work for the TJ as long as I don't screw it up taking it apart and putting it back together, and we'll make a video on that when we do it. Right now we're getting everything ready to get the transmission back in. So underneath you could see chassis rails are cleaned. That little bit of surface rust is not flaky, it is clean, it is smooth as it can be, and that's exactly what rust encapsulator is for. You can see on the other side we got everything cleaned up, it's degreased, there's no loose flaking rust, and hopefully the rust encapsulator will give these chassis rails some new life. Everything that we cleaned and prepped we will cover with rust encapsulator and then chassis black. And I'm going to get a mask on because it is a little breezy today, so it's going to be blowing around and in my face, and I'll get some sprayed on and we'll show you what it looks like. So all done with my painting. I waited about 10 minutes between each coat. I put 2 coats of rust encapsulator and then 2 coats of extreme chassis black and satin. I think everything came out pretty good. What really came out nice was the chassis rails. Show you them quick. And that's it today for our Project Jeep Transfer Case Blown Apart video series. I don't know what you call it. Next step, get the flywheel back from the machine shop, get that put in, get the clutch put in, transmission back, start to get the whole shifter thing. We had to take the interior apart when we took the transmission out. It was a pain in the ass, but get all that back in, and then we can start dealing with the transfer case and breaking it open and getting that new input shaft put in it. Slow, but it's getting there. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the next video.